Hello lovely people, I've just finished tuning this two-way system with the DP series Alpine mid-bass in the doors, tweet in the sill, and the DSP amplifier hitting here. So as I mentioned, I just finished tuning it. We're gonna go through all the measurements over there, but I want to just give my kind of first impressions while I'm fresh, because I just had a listen to the system, and I'm I'm not disappointed and I'm not surprised. For me, it's kind of I want to say an average system. It doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't sound spectacular or good. Mainly because the speakers are in the doors. So the thing is, like, even if the doors are deadened and the panel is like deadened and everything, but it still rattles and rattles a lot. So what happened is I was playing sine tones and 80 to 100 hertz, like all of this, something inside, I don't know what, but it starts to buzz quite a lot. And then what I did exactly the same. I just connected my phone to my main system, which has mid bass in the kicks and mid range is there, and I played exactly the same tones and there was no buzzing. So I know that buzzing is coming from the doors, from exciting something, maybe like the switches or something, I don't know, something inside. But I tried to like hold it in, but it was still buzzing, so something in the door buzzing. So the main advantage, because I was running with the kicks for quite a while now, the main advantage of the kicks is really no buzzes. You cannot hear anything, but with the doors is just a nightmare. As well, what I did, I took this SPL dB meter and I was just testing the maximum output on some songs. So I was playing through Bluetooth because this has a Bluetooth adapter is hidden there. I was playing through Bluetooth, and it's so this amplifier, DSP amplifier, is 25 watts only, and these mid basses, I think they're like 91 dB sensitive. So I was maxing out the amplifier on some songs, even full tilt, it doesn't clip, but on some you can hear that the amplifier is clipping. And on this dB meter, I maxed out on one song, it was 103 dB, but usually it's like 100 dB, 95 up to 95. It sounds very good. Above 95, you can start hearing all the door coming alive and start buzzing and everything. So yeah, just to compare, because my main system, it goes like up to probably 110 with no issues, no buzzing, no nothing. But the main issue is the buzzing door. So as I mentioned in my previous video, this is going to be my secondary system. It was a temporary install just while I'm gonna change everything in the dash, in the kicks, in the boot, when I'm gonna rebuild the amp rack and everything. So this is the temporary system, and it's gonna serve the purpose. Another thing, what I noticed is this amplifier, after playing music for like 15-20 minutes, it gets warm. It's not hot, but it's warm to the touch, kind of between warm and hot. It's not very hot, but it needs some breathing space. So in here, I don't know, I hope it's not gonna overheat. But yeah, if you're playing full tilt for quite a long time, it does get quite hot. Another thing that I want to show you very quickly as well is the Alpine DSP software. So I did a comparison between Helix and Alpine. However, I was not working on it. I was just, you know, like just checking. But now, since I actually tuned the car with this, a few little things. So like entering, because it doesn't have like import EQ, so you have to enter all the bands manually. And one thing that is quite annoying is that in REW, when you have the EQ bands, it gives you it doesn't show it, it gives you frequency, then it gives you gain, and then it gives you the Q. And here you have frequency, Q, and gain. So Q and gain is like mixed up the order. And the thing is, these numbers are very, very small. So like if I said like this, you can see like from here, you can barely see the numbers, and the fact that everything is black, it doesn't help at all. So I would prefer something a bit lighter and a bigger font, because there is like space between the numbers, so it could be a bigger font. Another thing is, when you're entering like numbers, what you have to do is just you put a number, enter 1, enter -3, enter, and it jumps to the next one, so which is perfect. It's very, very good. However, by doing this and while looking at the EQ that you need to enter, you might mistype some numbers, and I actually did. So what I did, I mistyped 17,000, and I typed 1.7 thousand, so I just missed 10. And again, you can mistype a minus and you can boost instead of cut. So you just need to pay attention while entering and double checking the bands after you enter. So this kind of nuisance, I want to say, is not a big issue. You just need to pay a bit more attention to it. So now I think is the time. Let's jump into the laptop and I'm going to show you how these measure. So again, in the door, mid bass in the door, tweet in the sill, nothing else. Door, sill, just 4 speakers and all these measurements. Okay, so let's jump right into it. I made the target later. I measured the tweeters first, crossed at 2K, just at 2K, because I didn't want to cross them at 1K because I didn't really want to. And this is what I saw. So when I saw this, remember in my first impressions video, I said that the tweeters sound very harsh, and I was expecting that there's gonna be like a peak of something, and this is exactly what it is. So there's a massive peak at like 3.5K on both of the tweeters. On the right one is a bit lower, and this is exactly what sounded very, very harsh. As well, you can see here at 20K, there's a massive peak as well. So this is a metal dome tweeter, and this is the cone breakup that is at 20K. So thankfully I cannot hear it, but I did tone it down a bit. And yeah, some babies can hear it. Probably maybe dogs will go crazy if there's gonna be any content there. But the most important part was this big mountain at 3K. As well, there was a massive dip at 15K, and I thought it might be like a reflection from something, from window, from the grill or whatever. So what I did, I took a measurement of near field tweeter. So right tweeter and left tweeter near field. So just right next to them, right next to the grill. And as you can see, it's exactly the same response. You have this massive dip, you have this cone breakup, and a peak here. So this is not the cabin, not the car, but this in reality is the actual tweeter. It's not the best, I want to say. I don't want to use the word bad, but compared to like the SB acoustics that I have, there's no comparison. This is a not the best tweeter, if I might say this. So let's have a look what I did. I chose to cross them. Oh, I chose to cross them at 3K. So I did the targets for 3K acoustical crossover, and for the mid bass, just slightly rising bottom end, because later on, if I'm going to integrate a subwoofer, I will need this to go up. But for now, it's just this. Again, this is no subwoofer, just the mid bass and the tweeter. So let's have a look. Left tweeter, actually both of them kind of the same. So I crossed them at 3K, just a bit higher, because 2K, I think it was a bit too low for them. They didn't like to play that. So it brought down this peak, and it followed much better the target that I chose. See the slope. And basically what I had to do with this 3K crossover, I just had to EQ all of this peak down. So what I did for the left one, I chose the target curve here, so I toned down all of this peak, and I tried to bring this up. I think I brought about like 8 dB, and I did check it like on and off that specific EQ band. It does make a difference, and it doesn't sound harsh, it doesn't clip, there's no distortion, nothing, so it's just fine. And I did toned down this big massive cone breakup. I just brought it down. So that's the left one. And very similar the right one, from this to this. Again, all this peak down and this slightly up. And I ended up with something looking like this for the tweeters. They follow each other, they follow the target, very nice. Now let's have a look at the mid bass, left bass and right bass. So this is in the doors, and this is with no crossovers, if you can see. And you can see I had this problem with the other drivers that I had. Basically below 70, 80, there's absolutely nothing, no bass whatsoever. It just drops off like a cliff. So the left bass is the passenger side, and there's a problem, acoustical problem here, about 400 hertz. It's probably reflection from the dash or something, and they kind of roll over after like 1.5K. They start to roll over and go down. The right mid bass is the driver's side, and you can see this massive hole at 140, and this is the driver's side null, the reflection that is coming from the passenger window, passenger door. And again, you cannot do anything about it. And exactly the same, 1.5K, it starts to roll down. So what did I do? In order to follow this, yeah, it does kind of follow. So what I did, I crossed this. So this is the left one, the passenger side. I crossed it at 70 because the thing is, like, there's no bass anyway. There's no point of crossing it at 40, 50, 60 because there's no it doesn't play anything. So I crossed it at 70, and you can see all of this went down. And at the top end, I think it was 3.2K or 3.5K, just to make the slope to follow. And from this, I got this. So just EQ, down, up, a little boost here, a little cut there. And I ended up with something like this, a few cancellations here, which is, again, fine. You cannot do anything about it. So this is the left one. From the right one, with this messy thing, I had to choose the target curve slightly higher because otherwise I would be losing too much of the dynamics. It's still, you can see it's like 7-8 dB cut. I didn't want to cut like 15 dB, so I chose the target curve slightly higher, and you can see here it's already not following because it falls down. So you would ideally need a lower crossover point, but again, with that tweeter it doesn't work. So I chose to boost this area with EQ, and basically a little cut, a little boost. So this is with a crossover. I applied the crossover 3.5 or 4K just to bring down this, because I didn't want to cross it lower to bring this area even lower. So I crossed it a bit higher, and again at 70, and it takes down all of this. And from this mess, we have this. So all of this was brought down. I didn't touch this cancellation. I left it as it is, didn't boost anything. The only place where I did boost is this area by like, I think it's like 3 dB with Q of 1, so very wide boost. And I ended up with this, and this is my left and right. So this is like before level match. I did level match it a bit later. And these are the tweeters. So they are kind of following the target curve, mid bass and tweeter, which is not that bad. They're kind of following. Again, it's not perfect, but with doors, with all these cancellations, you literally cannot do anything. And you can see there's literally no bass below 75 hertz. So from all of this, we have, what is it? I did check the mid bass as well, near field, left and right, just to make sure it's a cancellation. As you can see, there's no cancellations here, but there is when you listen from the listening position. and it is a bit of a mess after 3K, just all of that stuff. So this is mid bass, mid bass. Now, both tweeters after the timing. Okay, so timing, let's jump into this one. So home impulse, left bass and right bass, I line them like this. It kind of follows all the way up to like 450 something. Here you have something is happening, and I didn't fix it. You cannot really fix it unless maybe like an all pass filter or something. So this is a bit out of phase, but then from like 1K and over, they all go back into kinda in phase. And then the tweeter, so I have left tweeter, which again follows the phase, starts at 0, and the right tweeter as well. So the right tweeter, the phase shows that it's kind of out of, but with the timing, see, they are perfect in time. So what I did now after this, I didn't adjust any more timing. About what I did, what I played with the levels to change, to shift the center image. But to be honest, center image was, for the tweeters, it was like almost spot on where it's supposed to be. And there was like slight adjustments for the mid bass. So this is both tweeters. Where is it? Tweeter left, right. And you can see it has a little rising end, so I did dealt with this a bit later. And this is both mid bass, so they do some nicely. Yeah, we have some issues like here at 1K, maybe here a bit dip, but in general they did sum up very, very nice, like plus 6 dB. So this both mid basses and both tweeters, and then again they sum very, very nicely at the crossover region, no problems at all. And the only thing that I did after this, I slightly adjusted, because like for the mid bass you have all of this level here, and then it kind of drops off and you have all of this. So I did a few slight tweaks with very wide boosts. So I did boost like this area a tiny bit, and I did remove the top end. And again, you can see this is a property of a tweeter, and this is the cone breakup. But me personally, I don't hear above 16K. So this cone breakup is not audible to me. But this, I can slightly feel on a few songs where you have a lot of top end. You can feel that this information is missing, because like it starts to fall off after 13, 14K. And this information gives you that, like the spaciousness, the airiness. I don't want to use those audiophile words, but it does add some to the atmosphere. But in general, it's not a bad tune. Like this, let me add some smoothing, 1/3, just like that. So it's not a bad tune at all. There's no big major issues. The only issue is the door and these tweeters at the top end. But in general, yeah, it's not that bad. So I will make a demo video, a very short demo video of how this specific tune sounds. You can, it's gonna be over the phone, but in general, you can, yeah. And if you're gonna come Sunday, this upcoming Sunday, to Emma round 2, I will have the system. It's gonna be available for demos as well if you want demo next to my main system. So I will have two systems in my car. I will be competing just with the main, the big one, but this one is gonna be available just for fun listening down to 75 hertz, because there's absolutely no bass. But yeah, so thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.